welcome to the Passenger Seat Podcast, a podcast designed to fill your passenger seat with chat about classic cars, all recorded from my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy. And today I'm going to be telling you all about the time that me and Peggy starred on a TV show that is going to be live on TV tonight, if you're watching this on the day of upload, and telling you about how that happened, what it was all about, and getting you really excited if you are in the UK to watch it, and if you're elsewhere, giving you an idea about where you might be able to find it. So this all starts around April-May time of 2022 when I see a new little Instagram thing pop up for a thing called Classic Car Casting or something like that, and it's recommended to me on Instagram, so I have a look at it and see that they are looking for cars that need a little job doing to them, with owners with interesting stories that will be happy to go on TV and talk about what the car needs doing to it. The TV show will do what needs doing to the car, and then they will kind of give the car back to you. And I think that looks interesting, so I give it a follow. And I think I dropped them a message to see if get a little bit more information, and then I dropped them an email with a bit more information, and basically they wanted to know what sort of stuff the car needed doing to it, and a little bit about yourself and the car. So I got in touch with them and I said, like, this is my car, it's my podcast studio, it's my daily driver, and she means so much to me. And they said, okay, sounds interesting, what's wrong with the car? I think I initially sent them a few pictures of Peggy's paintwork and the issues that were starting to crop up with that, but I also mentioned that there seemed to be a lot of oil leaking out of the rear of the engine, quite a lot of oil leaking out of other places, and could do with a hand looking into solving those problems, because I really wasn't very mechanically hands-on at that point. I'd done a few bits and bobs, tried out a few things, usually under the guidance of my dad, but a whole engine removal was not something that we really had time or the capacity to do at the time to investigate what was going on there. So they said, well, yeah, I think the engine work could be something that we look into, and we'll pass on your story to a bit of a shortlisting process, and we'll let you know. And I think it was around beginning of June they said that you progressed a little bit further. Can you give us some more details, some more information? Have you got any photos of the oil leaks and where it's all leaking from and stuff? So passed all of that on, and they said that filming was starting really soon, and they'd shortlisted me to be in one of the final running cars. And they had two different types of cars that they were planning on putting on the show, runners and non-runners. There was a discussion as to which kind of category Peggy would come into, and if you've seen the TV show, you'll know that the non-runners turn up on the back of a retro kind of pickup truck recovery van that's owned by Derek, one of the mechanics, and the ones that are classed as runners drive themselves in. So there was a bit of debate about that and how it would work, and also I had a really nice phone call with the producer Michael, who was working on the show, to firm up a few details because of the uniqueness of Peggy being my daily driver, and at the time being one of our main cars. Whilst I was waiting to find out the dates and stuff that Peggy would be on the show, we actually did the national weekend with the Singer Owners Club. And it was on that weekend that I realised that there was something probably not quite right about how Peggy was set up, how she was running, and possibly her power from her engine. Because I was following my dad in his 1930s singer junior up the hills of Derbyshire and around the Peak District, and he was absolutely skyrocketing up these hills, and Peggy was struggling. So when I had that phone call with the producer Michael, I mentioned it to him, and he said, I'll have a word with our mechanics and see if that's something that we can investigate too whilst we've got the engine out. I think it's around end of August I get confirmation of the fact that Peggy will go to do her filming in October, and I'll pick her up in the November. And they ask for me to sign a load of documents to do with like not talking about the TV show and stuff online or anything before it airs, being a little bit quiet about kind of what sort of stuff you've done, all the stuff that you need to do to keep a TV show a little bit of a surprise. And also during that summer, I found out that my very good friend Charlotte had got the presenting role on the TV show, which made the fact that I was going to get to go on her first series, on her first TV show, so exciting. I was absolutely thrilled, and I couldn't believe it. So that was really cool, and I was really looking forward to it. I also had to send a load of photographs and stuff that they called my personal archive of me growing up around cars, how I used my car, some stuff that I've had Peggy out and about for, and send that all off so that they could work out how they were going to interweave it into the story. So this was all like prep work and things like that. And then I got my dates for filming, and I then had to work out, okay, how we're going to get down there, and obviously then I've got to work out how to get back. And it was around the September time of last year that we purchased the little Kia Picanto, that's our like modern, reliable, runabout backup car. And so the decided plan was that me and my dad would drive down there in convoy, him in the Kia, me and Peggy, because it was all the way down in the Guildford area. So we'd drive down really early in the morning, do all of the filming, and then drive back together in the Kia. So had a plan, had a date. And so it must have been, I want to say it was a Monday when I dropped it off. So I stayed over at my parents' house on the Sunday night, and then we left super duper early on the Monday morning to try and avoid as much of the traffic on the M25 as we could, and to make sure that we had plenty of time before we were needed to film. I'd done all of my hair up and stuff in curlers, and so I drove down in kind of some comfy jeans and a top, and then I had a suitcase full of a couple of different outfit options that I could put on, because I had to make sure that my outfit wasn't too similar in colour and stuff to the presenters, and also didn't have like logos and stuff like that on it. So I'd taken this huge great suitcase down, probably over prepared with the amount of clothes that I'd taken, and we stopped off in Guildford Tesco's. I ran into the toilets and did a quick change, my best Clark Kent impression in the toilets, and I'd gone in jeans, hair up in rollers, t-shirt, came out in a petticoat and a dress and everything, and my hair all brushed out, and probably confused quite a few of the shoppers at Guildford. Grabbed ourselves a little bit of breakfast and then carried on, not too much further on to where filming was actually taking place. We got there a little bit early, and also they filmed lots of kind of drop-offs or pickups all on the same day. So we were the kind of middle of filming on that day, and so there was a car that was happening when we arrived, and I think I actually drove up and nearly drove straight onto set, because I was like, I don't know where we're supposed to go, I'm not sure where we're supposed to pull up. So nearly drove almost onto set, and I think someone came running out and said, no, come park over here. So we parked up, sat in the office, and we had some lovely chats with the women that worked in the office on kind of the pre-editing and also kind of the setting everything up, and one of the girls that I'd been emailing as part of sending all of my information and stuff across. So we had a lovely chat with them, had some lunch and waited, and then eventually got onto set and got to see Charlie and meet the camera people and the producer and stuff. And I had to be mic'd up, and my dress didn't really have an obvious place to be able to hide my mic pack. So we ended up hiding it, I think, in the pockets, but then we had to feed the microphone up on the inside of my dress. So I had to cut a tiny little hole in the pocket of my dress, and they felt really bad about the fact that they had to do that, but I think it's quite exciting that I've now got two dresses, in fact, with tiny little holes in that mean that a mic pack was fed through. So once I was all mic'd up, they talked me through how it was going to work, how I was going to kind of drive up and get out and talk to Charlie about what was up with Peggy and what I needed doing. And then you do it all again, and all the camera people would move to kind of different angles so that you get lots of different perspectives. I think there was a perspective with a drone flying overhead as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it all comes together and what it looks like on the day. I think we must have been filming for maybe an hour, and Dad was watching kind of from the background out of camera shot. So he was able to take some interesting behind the scenes photos of what was going on, and like little things to kind of commemorate the fact that it was really exciting. We're going on TV. So yeah, we told Charlie all the things that we thought could probably do with being addressed by their mechanics. And then it came to the really scary part of handing my keys over, handing my car over, and driving home without her. And it was really nerve-wracking, the idea of leaving my car quite a way across the country to have a load of work done on her. Peggy, I think, was away for approximately 2.5 weeks, and they really got to work on her pretty fast. I think maybe the day after I dropped her off, or even that, I got some photos from the producer to say kind of, look, this is what's going on, this is how she's doing, this is the stuff that we've been looking at, and just keeping me updated, which I think was really nice, because I think they appreciated that the car was really important to me and that I'd be worried about it and I wanted to know what was going on. So it was really nice to kind of be updated and see some photos. And I actually got a photo of Peggy with the whole of her front missing and her engine out, and it was really freaky. Obviously it's a sight I'm a little bit more used to now, but I'd never thought I'd see my car like that, and it was a little bit spooky to see your car completely missing the front end of it and just this big hole and the gearbox just sitting there without an engine in front of it. Very peculiar. I got some pictures as well, I think, of my engine having a little spa day where it was all being cleaned up and degreased and ready for some work to be done on it. So that was really interesting, and the 2.5 weeks really flew by. I used the Kia as my daily, and Jamie was using his Spitfire, but I had quite a few things on in the weekends in between. I had Comic-Con and my sister's graduation, and then all of a sudden it was time to go back and pick Peggy up. So I had missed her, and it had been really weird to not see her in the garage and to not have her about the place and to be driving to and from work in her. But I hadn't missed out on any shows. They'd been really considerate of the fact that I'd used Peggy so much over summer to go to events, so it obviously pushed me back to the October. And I picked her up the Wednesday before I had the NEC. And so we went down on the Wednesday and again set off really early. This time me and Dad both in the Kia, drove down, got to Tesco's in Guildford again, and I did my quick change again in the toilets into a different dress this time, and then headed over to where the filming and all of the work and stuff was being carried out. And I think the guy that was picking his car up before me and filming that was the Austin Princess that has already been on the TV show. It's been great that a lot of the cars and stuff that I saw in and around being picked up, a lot of them have had their episodes already, so that's been really exciting. And I've been able to spot Peggy in the background of some of the shots already, but other than that I don't know kind of what the episode is going to look like. So we picked her up and I was told about the work that had been done. I'd been told that the engine wasn't running to kind of full capacity, and also that there was quite a big leak coming out of the back of the engine, and they'd looked over the clutch and made sure that that hadn't been weakened by what had been happening from the oil going over the clutch. But I really struggled to remember exactly everything that they said had been done, because it was really quite a long day, quite an exciting day. And so again, it's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing the ins and outs of on the programme. After we'd finished filming and done lots of really awkward shots of me kind of walking whilst a drone flew overhead and I had to not look scared, and we'd filmed the kind of big reveal of what had been done to Peggy and what she looked like and how clean the engine bay now was. And I think I also did a little bit of driving footage of me filming, but I'm not sure if that will get included, because I'm pretty sure at one point I go, is this being recorded? Is this for the show, or am I just telling you about like how it is? And so I'm not sure how much will be involved in the final of that. But it was, really exciting day. So cool to get to go out and experience driving her for the first time and it being recorded. And she did feel really different. Obviously, when an engine's had a load of work done on it, you have to be a little bit gentle as you slowly kind of run some of that in and torque the head down and do all of the maintenance stuff afterwards. So it was a very gentle drive, but you could definitely feel that the engine was a lot happier than it had been, and that the clutch felt so much better than it used to. So I'm pretty sure I'd got a new clutch plate, but again, we'll see, we'll find out. And then it was my first drive home in her, and we drove her all the way back to my house, and then the following day had to take her off to the NEC and have her on display on the young members stand there, and then drive her home after that. And by that time she was ready for some head torquing and some checking everything over, an oil change to make sure that anything that had kind of ground off in the engine wasn't going to keep going around the engine, and cleared that all out. And it was very exciting to have her back again and to have been part of it. And obviously, whilst I was filming, so much stuff was still up in the air about what it would look like, where it would be aired, when it would be aired. I think initially I was told like early spring, and then it got kind of pushed back to early summer, and then through to midsummer, which is when the programme started airing. And also, I didn't know what it was going to be called. But if you haven't guessed already, if you haven't been following some of my preview stuff over on social media this week, it's called Repair Lot, and it's been airing for a good couple of weeks now. It's been really interesting to follow along, and they do lots of stuff, not just mechanical work. They do kind of body work and interior work, and it's been so cool to see all of the stuff that's been done. I'm so excited to see the footage of Hannah and Derek, the mechanic, working on Peggy and diagnosing exactly what was going on with her. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting to have been part of the very first series of a brand new car TV series that looks at helping owners work on improving and tackling some jobs that are just a little bit too tricky, or they haven't got time for, or they haven't got the skills for, which has been great. And obviously Charlie's done a fantastic job of presenting it and talking about it, and also made everybody, I think, who was on the show as a guest feel really comfortable and welcome. So it's on Dave in the UK at 6 p.m. I think it's on Motor Trend if you're over in America, and I think it's called Motor Squad or something. But yeah, you should be able to find it from looking through the social media channels and stuff that I've got. If you don't manage to catch it, then you can catch it on UK TV Play, and I don't know if that's available in other countries. But yeah, it should be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully if you've been watching along on the YouTube, then you'll have enjoyed some of the behind the scenes photos of everything as well. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to a bit of behind the scenes of Peggy's TV debut, and you enjoy watching along tonight. And if you haven't already, going back and catching up on some of the previous episodes as well. I'm also really excited to see what other cars she'll be featuring alongside. If you've got any questions about how it worked, what it was like, and anything that I didn't cover in today's episode, drop a comment on the YouTube or a message over on Instagram or on one of the posts about it that I upload, and I'll try and be as helpful as I can. But in the meantime, thank you ever so much for listening. Drive safely and happy motoring.